Warning, the following podcast contains adult content, adult language, and adult situations. I talk openly about sex and explicit topics. If you are under the age of 18 or are uncomfortable listening to sexually explicit narratives, please listen no further. I am not a professional therapist, counselor, or doctor. I'm just an average guy in the swinger lifestyle who likes to share his experiences. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Please seek a professional if you are in need of advice, guidance, or care as it relates to sexual health or alternative lifestyles. Hello, lifestyle friends. I'm your host, Evan. Welcome to Evan Swings, a podcast about the swinger lifestyle from the perspective of a guy in the lifestyle. I am, of course, half of a lifestyle couple, the other half being my lovely wife, Eva, who, I have to stop and let you guys know this, she just told me a few days ago that she did not like or does not like the title of this podcast. She's not a fan of the name Evan Swings. So I was a little taken aback there, a little offended. You know, when I first started, I wanted to make sure I included the word swing or swinger to kind of categorize it. And I really wanted to use, my alter ego name, Evan. So that's, I thought it was something simple, Evan Swings. But I was surprised to learn that Eva never really liked it. So pretty interesting. But oh well, we move on. We have been in the lifestyle for 3 years now. And if you are new to the program, welcome. Happy to have you. It is recommended, though, you go back and listen to some of my earlier stuff, some of the earlier episodes first, but definitely not a necessity. I hope you'll still find what I have to say informative and or entertaining. And to my returning listeners, of course, welcome back. Happy to have you as always. Got some kind of big news to share. I record my episodes in advance, all right? So sometimes several episodes ahead of schedule. The big news is that Eva and I have decided to go to an all-exclusive lifestyle resort next month. So by the time you hear this, we will probably already have completed our trip. So when I say next month, I'm talking August of 2024. So whenever you hear this, you kind of have to just use that frame of reference. But I do hope to dedicate an episode to our experience at that resort in the near future. Still not 100% that we are going. We're looking at tickets and packages and all that. But if all goes according to plan, we hope to be booked up and, everything taken care of in the next day or two. But anyway, moving on. This is episode 25. I never really thought I would actually make it this far, to be honest with you. But here we are, still plugging along. And of course, over the previous 24 episodes, I've told a lot of stories, given a lot of hopefully good perspective on being in the lifestyle. And I mentioned a few times that there was really only one time in our 3 years in the lifestyle that I personally experienced an issue with jealousy. And I also said that I would at some point do an episode on that particular experience. And that time is now. This is that episode. However, I do have to mention that as I was telling Eva about putting together this episode, she reminded me of another incident where I experienced jealousy. So I'll tell you about that one too. But first of all, I want to touch back on a question that was asked of me. I already addressed it in episode 21, but it kind of applies here, kind of ties into what I'm about to talk about. So I wanted to kind of touch on it again. Someone asked me, how do I deal with seeing Eva having sex with another man, often right next to me? Well, first of all, Eva and I, we got into the lifestyle knowing full well what to expect. I mean, I expected to see another guy fucking my wife. And I like the thought of that. Like, I like the thought of the idea of that happening. And I still do to this day. I love talking about it. I love thinking about it. Love seeing it happen. And Eva knew that she'd be seeing me fuck another woman. So as a couple, you have to understand what you're going to see. If the thought of that makes you uncomfortable in any way, then perhaps you need to do a little more thinking, think on it a little bit and talk about it a little bit more before jumping into it. But it's truly different for every couple. We know of at least one other couple who thought they would be fine with it. But when it came time for their first full swap experience, they started feeling uncomfortable and they stopped and backed out. But if you're the jealous type, okay, that could happen, all right? I'm trying to think of a way to express this. Okay, if you see someone checking out your wife from across the room and you feel hints of jealousy, that may be a red flag, all right? And jealousy can happen, all right? Even after a significant amount of time in the lifestyle. Because another lifestyle couple that we know, friends of ours, they've had it happen to them. 2 couples actually that I can think of, all friends of ours. Jealousy has come up in their experiences, and for both couples, they had to step back, reassess, kind of talk things out, and eventually got back into it. But it does happen. It can happen to you, even if you don't think it could. So how did I become okay with sharing my spouse? As I mentioned, it started with kind of an epiphany, all right? At some point, I realized that sex and love can be 2 completely separate things. And in my opinion, all right? Again, this is just my opinion. And I would venture to guess it's a prevailing opinion of a lot of other swingers, most other swingers even. You can have sex with someone, and that someone can be someone you love very much. And the sex can be an act of love. But the sex can also just be about pleasure, even if you love the person. Okay, the actual sex is not just about love. It can be just about having fun. It could be just about some pleasure. It can be just about satisfying an animal instinct that we as humans possess. Because we are animals. We do have animalistic urges to reproduce. Have you ever had a quickie? You probably have. Okay, I'm assuming if you're listening to this at some point in your life, you have had a quickie. That's just a quick act of pleasure. Okay, it's not a huge show of love and devotion. So yes, it can be just about pleasure. Outside of the lifestyle, sex is often considered, or can be considered, a sacred, significant act or event between two people. It often serves as an important point, or like a milestone that is reached in a relationship. It is the ultimate point you can reach physically with someone. And some people think that if you sleep with someone, the relationship has now reached a serious step. And others can, see it just as an act of pleasure or passion or simply like just physical enjoyment. So when this person asked me this question, that was my response. The sex you are going to have as part of the lifestyle is not an expression of love. It is not the same type of sex that you are used to having with your spouse. The sex you are going to have is purely for pleasure. It is purely for fun. It is purely for sexual exploration. So for Eva and me, it was the understanding that sex and love are two completely separate entities. And my opinion is that you don't have to have that solid, or I should say, if you don't have that solid understanding, like solid beyond the shadow of a doubt, if you don't have that solid understanding that there's a way to separate sex and love, you are putting yourself at risk for jealousy and complications during your lifestyle journey. I probably sounded like I was an expert there, or at least thought I was an expert. Let me assure you, I am not. Okay, those are just my opinions on the matter, and others may have a completely different take on it. So please remember, I'm not an expert, I'm not a licensed professional of any kind. All right, that's just my humble opinion. Average guy in the lifestyle. So now that I have professed how awesome I am about not getting jealous, let me tell you about the times I did. Okay, proving that even the self-proclaimed jealous-proof types can still find themselves in situations where jealousy can creep up on them. Okay, so I'll start off with the one that Eva reminded me of. Okay, and it's a real short story, and then I'll get into the bigger one. We had this one local couple where things just absolutely fell apart once we really got to know them, and I've referred to them before as the batshit crazy couple. Probably a little harsh, but that's what I call them, and it kind of stuck. Well, when things started to get bad, I ended things with the wife first. I did not want to see her anymore. She broke my trust, and that is a big no-no with me. She violated my trust, and so I knew it was over. But Eva was still interested in seeing the guy, like seeing him separately. I did not like this at all. But against my better judgment, I said it was okay for her to keep seeing him. I wanted her to be happy, and if the situations were reversed, I realized I would appreciate Eva allowing me to continue to see her. Thankfully, she only saw him like once or twice more. I can't remember exactly. Before she finally realized what I realized and ended things with him. But during those one or two times, I was not happy about it. Usually when Eva comes home after fucking a guy, I am so turned on and riled up. I was not for this. So I don't know. Thinking about this now, I don't know if this would actually qualify as jealousy. Okay, I did not like that it was happening. It was just more of like, I was accepting it because I love my wife and I want her to be happy and have the opportunities to explore her sexuality the way that she wants to experience it. So I don't know. I don't know now that I hear myself talking about it out loud. I'm not sure if it was actual jealousy I was experiencing. Definitely a sense of unease, but not sure if I was actually jealous. Looking back, I would have probably handled things differently and maybe put up more of a fight to, let her go off and see him. I didn't want to be selfish though, but at the same time, my partner and I should be, we should both be 100% comfortable and 100% on board with the situation for it to happen, right? I mean, in the lifestyle, both a husband and a wife should always be 100% comfortable, or else it should be a no-go. Am I right about that? I feel like that I am, that it should be that way. Well, that was a while ago. Anyway, it was year 1, I think. I think it was in the first year of our involvement in the lifestyle. So I kind of give us a pass. I say it a lot, but you live and learn. And we learned a lot from that experience, and I don't think we would ever allow ourselves to be put in that sort of situation again. Now, I definitely experienced jealousy during this one situation, which I am about to share with you. Now, this took place within the last year. I would say 6 to 8 months ago. I think that's a fair estimate. We had gotten very close with another couple who lived just outside the Columbus, Ohio area. And as a reminder to any new listeners or those of you who have forgotten, we live outside the Dayton, Ohio area. Columbus is, it's about 90 minutes from us. Anyway, this couple, we would see them fairly regularly, like every couple months, I'd say. They refused to wear condoms, like absolutely refused. But we liked them a lot and established a great deal of trust with them. So we ended up having, or coming up with an agreement. They would be one of 2 couples that we didn't use a condom with. And we would all agree to have testing done prior to playing. So considering their distance away from us, it was not convenient to see them all that frequently. So like I said, we ended up seeing them like every couple months, maybe even every 3 months. But we would stagger our testing. So like I would get tested after a month or 2, then Eva would get tested a month or 2 later. Not exactly foolproof, not exactly 100% safe and accurate, but we knew the risks and felt we were taking acceptable precautions. And I guess I'm just telling you all this because I'm trying to make it clear that we really, really like this couple. So we would not do all that testing for just any couple. They were one of our favorites. He was one of, if not the favorite of Eva as well. She says that he has a magic dick, and he makes her come like no one else can. We can't explain it. So we just call it a magic dick. And I really enjoyed her, the woman, because, well, for one, she seemed to really enjoy me. She commented on how I touched her like no other guy touched her. And that's just irresistible to me. I have low self-confidence. I admit it. So when a woman tells me they really like what I am doing, like to her, that makes it even more enjoyable for me. she also squirted a lot in terms of both frequency and quantity. So needless to say, she made me feel really good about myself. Like I was an adequate lover who could meet her sexual needs. Felt really good about myself. And they enjoyed going to Club Princeton too. So that gave us a couple that we could visit the club with. In the fall of 2023, if I'm remembering correctly. Okay, I'm just kind of estimating here, and my memory's not the best, but I'm going to say fall of 2023, they hosted us for a play date. And at that time, they gave us the disappointing news that due to certain medical concerns, they would be leaving the lifestyle for at least a year and a half. I wish I could give you more details than that, but the medical stuff it's pretty specific, and I want to be able to protect their identity, so I'm not going to elaborate on it. You just have to trust me that due to medical concerns with her, okay, it was with her, that they were unable to have any play dates until 2025 at the earliest. Eva and I were certainly disappointed, but we of course understood. They were making a decision that was best for their family. Several months pass, and I wish I could give you a better time frame, but I really don't remember, and it's not really essential to the plot of the story here. So we'll just say several months passed, and we've stayed in touch, because like I said, they became pretty good friends of ours. I'm going to give them a name at this point. I'm going to call them Bruce and Bonnie. Well, Bonnie reached out to Eva one day and said that despite announcing they were abstaining from lifestyle activity, there was still a way for all of us to play. We would also have to, Eva and I would also have to abstain from any extramarital lifestyle activity for 4 weeks, then get tested, share negative results for STIs, then we could play. Now, Eva, craving that magic dick, was on board right away. I didn't share the same excitement, but I was fine with it. I really enjoy making Eva happy, and I really enjoyed playing with Bonnie. So Eva and I did, what we were asked. We basically took a lifestyle break for a month, and we both got tested, of course, receiving negative results. Then things took an infuriating turn for me. Infuriating? I think I said that right. Infuriating. It took a bad turn for me. Bonnie informed us that there was a misunderstanding and that under no circumstances could she have sex with someone other than her husband during this 1.5 year medical sabbatical, or whatever you want to call it. So I was out. We took a break for a month so that we could play with Bruce and Bonnie. And now suddenly, I was not allowed to play. But of course, Eva was allowed, and Bruce really wanted to play with her. And she really wanted to play with Bruce. And Bonnie wanted to join in and have kind of like a soft swap threesome. She couldn't, have sex with another man, but fooling around with Eva was just fine. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I felt like I was really getting the shaft there. All right. I followed all the instructions, and I suddenly could not participate. Now, Eva was good about this. She told me flat out that she really, really wanted to do this, but would not if it was going to bother me. Well, it did bother me. I knew that I was going to feel jealous. I felt like I was being left out. Circumstances beyond control, of course, but I was feeling left out. And I told Eva that I preferred she did not go. She would have to drive 90 minutes herself there, and then 90 minutes back home in the dark. And she doesn't have very good vision driving at night. She has vision trouble. So all that made me uncomfortable. In addition to the fact that she was going to get to have a threesome without me after I thought I would be there, present with them, playing too. But I also said that I was not selfish, and if it was something that she really wanted to do, I would feel too badly keeping her from doing so. In a way, deep down, I figured she probably wouldn't end up going, knowing that this was kind of a hard decision for me to make. But she did. And that was a very, very rough night for me. I should say that I tried to have my own fun that night. I attempted to find a play date for myself, but as I expected, my posts were basically ignored, probably laughed at on SLS and some other sites. There are places on these sites. On SLS, it's called Hot Date, like a hot date area, where you can explain your circumstances and find a date for a certain night. You know, mostly couples. Things like, we're in Cincinnati for a business trip this weekend. We'd love to find a couple to hang out with. You know, things like that. My posting was like, my wife is off playing with another couple and I'm looking to have my own fun. Something to that effect. And there were no takers, obviously. The day arrived, and up until the point that Eva departed, I really thought there was a good chance she would back out and say, I see that you're uncomfortable with this, so I'm going to just stay home. But the allure of the magic dick was too strong. I can't really blame her. Because I got a text, and I think it was still at work. I can't remember, but the text said she had just left, she loved me, and she'd let me know when she got there. So yeah. So, and to top things off, all my kids had plans that night. So, no one was at our house. And all my vanilla friends were busy. So I was stuck home alone in my house, wondering how good my wife was getting fucked right now, and picturing the three of them having a good time at a hotel without me. So, ladies and gentlemen, whether it was warranted or not, I was jealous. I was really jealous. I felt left out. And, again, whether it was warranted or not, I felt like they were having fun without me, while they were well aware I wasn't completely comfortable with the situation. And that up until shortly before, I expected to be there with them. So I was jealous. I wanted to be there too. So badly. Especially because I had nothing else to do that evening. Nothing to really occupy my mind. So I cleaned her house. Our kitchen was spotless by the time Eva got home. And I won't lie, it was really rough on me. Really rough that night. I think I've said this before, but I do suffer from depression and anxiety. And this situation, I let it get to me. I started feeling bad about myself. I started feeling like I wasn't attractive. That's why, I couldn't find a play date for myself that evening. So it was pretty bad. It was bad. Luckily, I had my dogs with me to keep me company. and that helped. That actually helped a lot. I knew Eva would be home late, and she texted me when she left the hotel, and I told her to drive safely. Then I got in bed to wait for her. Now, normally in a situation like this, where she's returning from a play date, I would be so fucking excited for her to come home, for her to tell me all about it, and for us to have our usual reclaim sex. But something was different this time. And this is the only time I have ever felt this way. I knew she'd be coming home in this sexy outfit that she wore for her play date. But I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to know like how fucking hot she looked for Bruce and Bonnie. And I may have texted her, I don't remember, but we worked it out so that she would come home, take off her clothes, and get in bed naked without me like actually seeing her in the outfit she wore. And I don't know. Now that I say that it sounds stupid. I get it. It sounds stupid, but it was a really rough night that night. So she did. She came into her bedroom with her coat on, undressed in our walk-in closet, and then joined me in bed. And we had our reclaim sex, and it was nice. But Eva felt it too. Something was different. It wasn't the intense, hot passion that we usually feel. I let jealousy get in the way of that, and my body language contributed to a less than usual exciting experience. Now, after sleeping on all this, the next morning, I was fine. I still wasn't really interested in hearing all the details of the evening yet, because again, I was jealous. But I accepted it, and my mental health was just fine. Eventually, I did hear about the details, and it was enjoyable, but just not the same. And I can't explain why this situation made me so jealous. I mean, I have seen multiple men fuck my wife in a variety of positions, in a variety of locations. My wife has had a few separate play dates with both men and women, and I never experienced jealousy. I mean, if you listen to my episode that I called, I forget what I called it, something about Eva fulfilling her fantasy. She drove to Columbus and surprised a guy at his house, and that it was Bruce, as a matter of fact. Okay, so this whole story, that's the guy. She showed up at his door wearing a trench coat with nothing but lingerie underneath. No jealousy issues at all. This situation just hit me differently. Probably at least in part by the fact that I thought I was going to be a part of it, and I prepared for it. I took a month off from the lifestyle in preparation for it. And then, for circumstances that understandably could not be controlled, I was left out of it. And I ended up staying home alone at my house to clean. Not very fun. Couple that with my mental health issues, and you just had a less than optimal situation. And that, my friends, is the tale of the only time I really experienced jealousy in the lifestyle. So far. I wanted to tell you about something else. If you have listened to my other episodes, you probably remember a recent one called Evan Screws Up. I set up a hotel date for Eva with another dude, and it went to crap pretty fast. Well, I was eager to fix things. I got another chance, and I'm happy to say that I have totally redeemed myself, as Jeff Daniels' character would say in Dumb and Dumber. In a future episode, I'm going to tell you all about that awesome experience for Eva. So she got that opportunity. All right. Now, and then that just happened recently. Now she's been chatting with a guy and plans on setting up a separate play date with him in the very near future. Then I, unfortunately, require knee surgery. Torn meniscus, not bad. It's not going to be a super bad knee surgery, but it's surgery. And I plan to have that done at the end of August 2024. So during that recovery time, there's another opportunity for Eva that has come up. This couple that I just told you about, Bonnie and Bruce, the guy with the magic dick, Bonnie has reached out and is looking to set something up again for Bruce, where, again, Eva would have to take a month. I would have to take a month as well, away from the lifestyle, then get tested, present negative results, and then she'd be able to fuck her husband, Bruce. So because I'll be recovering from my knee surgery, Eva, of course, is dying to do this. Because this is the guy with the magic dick. I don't blame her. I will be out of commission for a few weeks anyway. But because she will be fucking 3 different guys separately without me in a span of, 3 to 4 months, I find myself feeling a little jealous of her, like that she is having these opportunities. So who knows? I may have more jealousy stories coming at some point. We'll have to see how this goes. But for now, I'm going to wrap things up. I appreciate you sticking around and listening to me rant and rave and weave my lifestyle tales. Hope you come back and listen another time. I try to put out an episode every 2 weeks. Until then, you can always connect with me. Find me on Instagram or Kik at Evan Dienson. That's EvanDeanson. Evan Dienson. Or you can even email me at evandeenson@gmail.com. I don't check the email or the Instagram accounts very often, but I do check them occasionally. I would love to hear from my listeners. Thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions are always welcome. Not just for me, but for Eva as well. I'm happy to relay any questions or comments you have for her. We'll see everyone next time. Be safe, be naughty. Bye for now.